Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Hi, Stephen.
Yes.
This is Clem Fandango.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me, Stephen?
Yeah, I can hear you, Clem Fandango. Where's that other prick?
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
Hi, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango.
Yeah, I know who you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Clem Fandango. What do you want?
Hello, Stephen. This is Clem Fandango. Can you hear me?
Here we go.
Goodbye, Mom!
No, what am I saying?
What, this? It's nothing. Really, it's nothing, Ed. It's just, it's just Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Have a good time. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Okay, you little bastards. The time has come. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski. Let's go.
Back in the saddle again, and let's go. You're tuned in with the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Alabruski, another podcast playing on your electronic device. And welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Yeah. Who the fuck's Clint Fandango? Is that staying in, or am I editing that out? What the hell's that?
It's Clem Fandango, dude. Can you hear me?
I don't know what the hell's that from.
Yes, Clem
People
Fandango.
stop calling me Steven already? What the hell?
Steven!
Steven, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, Clem Fandango. Yeah, you can hear me.
All right, Google that reference because it went over my head. But yeah, find us online, thevocalminority.net. We have multiple social media pages full of things with Nick, Steve, and Brewski.
That's right.
Unless you're my mother, stop calling me Steven.
What, are you getting a little tired of being called Steven? You've matured, dude. I look at you and I think you're not just a Steve anymore. You're a Steven at times.
No, I don't think so. Listen, the occasional Steven reference, just like I occasionally call you Nicholas, is good, but I don't want people calling me that. I don't want that catching on, Steven.
Why is your girlfriend starting to call you that, dude?
No. I hope, God, I pray not. But Stephen Colbert is the only good Steven I've ever heard of. And he spells it P-H-E-N. I'm V-E-N, so it can't be.
Remember when Steve Mnuchin was elected Treasury Secretary?
Yes.
And then
all of us Steves were very disappointed.
Okay, but then as soon as he demanded everyone start calling him Steven. But maybe it sounds more professional. Stephen Mnuchin.
It's douchebaggy to be called Steven, so that's why he wanted to be called Steven.
It's interesting that you say that. Rachel used to have a partner. His name was Chris. When he made partner, he became Christopher. He changed his name, and I was like, why, dude? It just makes you sound a little pretentious. All I know is when I call you Steven, it's usually when I want you to take me heartfelt or seriously. Like it's time to put your listening ears on.
Okay.
When I call you Steven.
I'll dial in then when I hear that. So yes. Hey, we are back. We had a little hiatus there. Nick was on the road. Nick was standing in this very studio several days ago. How amazing is that?
I was. It made a quick stop by VM studio in Nevada style. Did a road trip with my brother, and we went down through Southern Oregon, saw some cool shit, went into the Redwoods, and then the natural progression was into Nevada, and we shacked up at Harnesses for an evening, and went out, rode some dirt bikes, dude. We rode a few dirt bikes. The day we left, the three of us jaunted down to Harnesses territory and rode some dirt bikes. It was great.
Nick got to ride my girlfriend. How cool is that? Yes. And no, this is not an OnlyFans page thing. My dirt bike is referred to as my girlfriend around here. And yeah, Nick got to take the KTM out along with his brother. It was fun. We took all three of my toys out and had a little fun early in the morning. And then Nick hit the road to the great beyond.
It was awesome, dude. I got to say, your girlfriend, she's got some power, dude. Brewski, I was, riding Katie, the KTM, sure. And, to be honest with you, in the trails anyway, I only left second gear once and probably didn't even need to. I probably could have kept it in second gear, but when you rev that just a little bit, I mean, she screams like, I want to go, dude. That thing is really powerful.
She's got some chutzpah to her, and I take good care of her. She knows how to turn it on when you finger it just right. You know, she really starts to purr. So that's all good.
She does, dude. You can tell that she's well taken care of. So
indeed. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, we had a little hiatus here, so we've got news stacking up on us. All sorts of things to get to.
All right, fellas, I think it's probably time we pop into some news.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Hello, Americans. This is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news. Now.
You've missed that, haven't you?
I have missed that, dude. I was listening to the podcast, and it's so funny because you know how like the Three Stooges used to trail off with their yes. As soon as we did that, I mean, Brewski laid a little, and then it was me, and it was you. It was so funny how it followed. You know, yeah, you got us into it all, Harness.
The Pavlovian response we've created, so enjoy that, listening audience. So. All right, news you need to know news. In our week off, this whole little controversy popped up, and I feel the need to chime in because I have opinions that go both ways. I might actually defend this gentleman to some extent. So, the big controversy with the quote-unquote football player, the kicker from the Chiefs.
Harrison Butker.
Yes, Harrison Butlicker. Is that what his name is? Buckisser? Is it? I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly so I don't offend him.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. As I'm sure we've all heard by now, he gave a commencement speech at a conservative Catholic college, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gave a speech at a conservative college, and yeah, he was a debatably chauvinistic, sexist asshole about it, saying in front of women that were about to graduate that your degrees, you all want to get your promotions and your careers. Like my wife will tell you, her life didn't start until she became a mother. Like she didn't exist before I impregnated her. And he said some anti-LGBTQ stuff, referred to it as being the month of June, Pride Month, being some horrid sin or whatever. So, yeah, he said a bunch of douchebag things, correct?
Yeah.
He played those hits, is what it was.
Right. So let me cover this in two angles, okay? First of all, let me defend the guy to some mild extent here because
sure you want to do that?
Several years ago, I think so, in principle, and I'll explain. There's a foot up his ass on the other side of this too, though. So,
all right.
But a couple of years ago, Colin Kaepernick did his thing where he did his silent protest, taking the knee during the national anthem. It was a Black Lives Matter sort of protest for police brutality. And I said back when he did that he has every right to use his platform, to use his freedom of speech rights to say what he did.
Sure.
Or in his case, silently not say it. He has every right to say what he wanted to say, but he also has the right to suffer the consequences for it.
Some might even say that he has a responsibility, or anyone who has a platform like that has a responsibility to speak out,
Not everybody takes it, though, because Michael Jordan never once ever spoke about anything like that because he always said, well, Republicans buy Nikes, too. So he stayed neutral on all that stuff because he didn't want to offend someone either way. So he was more about the money than he was about the actual principle of what was right.
Well, he thought it all the way through because, you have the right to say these things, but you also have the right to suffer the consequences because as we know on the show, when you put your opinion out there, some people are not going to like it and that can hurt your brand, your income, whatever it is. And Colin Kaepernick, saw that tenfold. The dude should still probably be in the NFL, but he's not. Well, he went to the Super Bowl in his second year. You don't think he would even be a second-string quarterback anymore? Obviously he got booted because of his opinion.
But because, Steve, if he really wanted to play football, right, the minute an NFL team wasn't going to sign him, he could have gone to Canada.
You don't agree that the NFL basically blacklisted the guy?
I don't care. He was he.
Well, that's not the question. If you care, I'm asking, did it happen?
No, it didn't.
That's arguable. Had he never taken the knee and then continued after they asked him to stop, which I don't think he should have, by the way.
No,
but had he never done that, he'd still be playing football in the NFL.
I don't think he would be. I don't because and this is getting into football's dumb football shit and everything. But the style of play that he was employing, where he was running a lot and that sort of thing, he sooner or later he was going to take some big hits, and that would have cut his career short. So
yeah, that's not
my
why
point
he's not in the NFL right now, though, right? That could have happened that way, but
he wouldn't be. Steve, he wouldn't have been playing any more than 4 years after he was let go by the Niners.
Right, but why was he let go by the Niners and not signed by anyone else? They all saw this future crystal ball thing and just said, we don't need a good quarterback. He may hurt.
He wasn't good. He wasn't good.
How was he not good? He made it to the NFL. He made it to the Super Bowl. How was he not good?
The team around him was really good.
Wow. Okay. Well, listen, we're getting into a completely debatable part.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Would you agree he suffered consequences for what he did?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so my point is, he's got the right to say it. He's got the right to suffer the consequences, just like we do, just like any talking head does. And this butt licker dude, I mean, he's got the right to do it. He's got the right to get up there and say it. But he's also got the right to suffer the consequences. And I'm wondering when and or if he will. And I think he deserves to lose. I don't know if he even has endorsements, if he's that famous enough. But I hope he does suffer some consequences.
Kickers don't normally get lots of endorsements. There might be some local stuff here and there, like a furniture store or something like that. But, unless you're like Adam Vinatieri when he was kicking for the Patriots and kicking multiple game-winning, Super Bowl-winning field goals.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, kickers don't usually get high profile.
Yeah, no, I agree. So he probably doesn't have too much to lose. But and I've seen his teammates in a lot of the NFL stand up for his right to. A lot of them seem to be saying what I just kind of said, like, hey, I don't agree with him, but he's got the right to say it. So
sure.
This is what I will say. If we remember the time when we lived in a country where our parents used to tell us, like, you don't talk to politics, you don't talk religion. And now that we do talk about all that stuff, like, we suffer the consequences on a daily basis, or people we know suffer the consequence on a daily basis. So if you're going to stand up like that, I mean, can you read the room at all and think that was the greatest thing to say at a college graduation, like, fucking douchebag? But at the same time, like, yeah, you got the right to say it, but you'll suffer the consequences at least around your circle of people that knew you. It's like Aaron Rodgers. We said, see you later, dude. I don't want to watch you anymore.
I believe the Pope was quoted as saying, dude, you got to read the room. I think that's a direct quote from the Pope right there.
I like to say, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do it.
Right. Yes.
Exactly. And one of my musical heroes, Eddie Vedder, has been making the rounds on social media for what he said at a concert recently. And I thought it was pretty, some of it was funny and some of it was on point. One of his quotes was, he said, there should be pride in homemaking, whether you're a man or a woman, which is true. It may be one of the hardest jobs, and you should definitely take pride in it. I would tend to agree with that. I think I'm a good homemaker. I take pride in it. I don't have to have ovaries to want to have a nice house.
No, that's always been a thing with, me and my relationship anyway, being like the stay-at-home dad, whether it was when we were fostering kids or now. I just take care of the house, dude. I mean, I have some sort of income, but my wife is definitely the breadwinner. And because of that, I'm always questioning, like, you take care of the home? Like, you cook dinner? You go to the grocery store and, like, what? Is that really that confusing for you to understand that?
Right. And Eddie had this great quote about, hey, this football player, or I should say kicker, because, he said something about he doesn't wear the pads like the other guy. He doesn't have to go out there and take the hits like the other guys do. Would you agree with that, Brewski, that he's not quite on the same masculine level as the other football players?
Not every kicker is, but there are some kickers that are. Exactly. There are some kickers actually who actually make tackles on like kickoff returns and stuff like that. Most kickers are usually not exact. They're not the guys that go out there obviously and take hits and that sort of thing. Yeah.
And speaking of masculinity, if in the rare occasions where a woman has made a football team in college, what position does she make?
Usually kicker.
Right.
But there is one girl, and I don't know how this is going to work, but I think she's either a receiver or a safety for like a Division III school. I fear for her safety because I think there are too many assholes that will want to take her head off.
Do we see any irony, though, in this guy talking about masculinity when he has the only job on the team that a woman can do?
That's a good point. I mean, Buttlicker, he was definitely he was definitely screaming out as an insecure person when he said all this stuff. Like, I can understand, like, saying exactly that. You know what? Whatever your choices are in life, motherhood is a wonderful thing. But to basically say, like, you get out of this corporate world, ladies. Well, first of all, I need a sandwich. Second of all, I'd like you to raise my children. You know, like, wow, dude.
Are we aware, Brewski, perhaps you know what this guy's mother does for a living? Anyone know?
I do not know.
She's a PhD, like, physicist or something. I mean, she's a highly educated career woman who was the breadwinner in his family, who put his ass through college to give him the chance to go to the NFL.
Smack in the face, dude. What a smack in the face. Jeez.
And the other good Eddie Vedder quote that I just think is very prolific, and Eddie's good that way. He says, "There's nothing more masculine than a strong man supporting a strong woman. People of quality do not fear equality."
Yes. That is, a truer statement has never been made. Come on.
So I don't know. Do we think there's going to be any consequences? I mean, the Chiefs aren't going to drop him, obviously, but will the booze he gets or the Instagram taunting he's getting, will any of this mean anything down the road?
I don't think so. I will say this though: there might be some fun signs that people put up to taunt him when he's on the road. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
No, never even considered, dude, that there could be people on his in his fan base that are like, yeah, finally someone had the nuts to say it.
Oh, there are. Well, apparently his jersey in the female sizes is now the number one selling in the NFL.
Well,
really?
but that,
like a bunch of dumbass housewives that agree with this shit are out there supporting him. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's all the Christians that are going out there to buy this jersey to show their support.
Which brings up another good point right there, Brewski. I was talking with Kennedy about this, and she brought up she was saying she was talking to a friend of hers about this, and that the friend was like, instead of canceling butt liquor, why shouldn't we be canceling the religion, the institution that taught him these things, the college that invited him and they didn't admonish it? Like, shouldn't we go a little further up the tree with the cancel culture when it comes to these opinions?
Yeah, cut it off at the source.
Wouldn't that be a godsend if we cut it off at the source?
Well, the thing about the college, though, is that I don't think that you can hold them responsible because
they haven't come out to admonish it. They were fine with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't expect them to do that though, given the kind of school that it is.
That's what I'm saying. So shouldn't we be more upset with the kind of school they are that would encourage someone to give a speech like that, or be okay with someone giving?
Let's cancel them. Forget about butt liquor, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Like, shouldn't you go a little further up the chain? He's the product of a institution that fostered those beliefs.
But here's the thing, though. He didn't even go to that school. He went to Georgia Tech, which is a really hard school to get into.
I'm talking about religious culture. Yeah.
No, I get that. I get what you're saying. But then again, you can't go and ban religion in the country.
God, I wish you could. I wish you could.
Can't, though.
No, you definitely can't.
Even
though the majority of us in this country are not religious, as we discussed recently. So
51%, is that what we found?
I think it was 60, actually.
Was it?
Yeah. That are either agnostic, atheist, or just I don't pick a religion anymore.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about it then is and then where do you stop though?
Oh, for sure. We can't do it.
Listen, I'm not going like pro cancel culture. I'm just saying that when people do dumb things publicly, it's okay to admonish them for them. I'm not calling for a boycott of the guy, although that's the power of the dollar in this country. If you want to not spend money on his jersey, it'll trickle. That's all fair. But I'm just saying when people do dumb things, we admonish them. But as we've talked about before, like Gen Z does a lot of stupid things. My admonishment is of the parents of Gen Z that taught them this shit, not of the kids as much. Like, you got to slap the kids on the wrist. But the bigger question is, who taught you this garbage that you're out there spewing? He's the product of the spoiled tree. Maybe we should be admonishing the tree.
I get you.
So, for sure. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. This one seems to be tapering off fairly quickly. People are got other things on their mind, I guess, and they're going to let this one go. He doesn't seem to be suffering major consequence.
Yeah. I'll be curious when the season starts. Like you said, Brewski, how many boos, how many funny signs, all that kind of stuff. So I guess time will tell.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
It is news you need to know. Need to know news.
How was Nick handling the news?
I haven't even started it yet, so let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Where's Nick?
Yeah, where is Nick? We've been wondering about Nick. He's been gone for 1 week, but I am back.
Where's Nick?
I'm here, dude. Let me cover that man for a second. Memorial Day weekend just happened as far as we're recording, and you would think that a presidential type person would come out and really say great things about Memorial Day, but not Donald Trump. He did make a big tweet for everyone to read. I guess it's not a tweet, a truth. I can't call it that either. Social. What do we call it?
A social media post.
That's right. Thank you, Brewski. Excellent play. Donald J. Trump, happy Memorial Day to all, including the human scum that is working so hard to destroy our once great country. And to the radical left, Trump-hating federal judge in New York that presides over, get this, 2 separate trials that awarded a woman who I never met before a quick handshake at a celebrity event 25 years ago doesn't count. $91 million for defamation. She didn't know when the so-called event even took place sometime in the 1990s. This post continues to go on for another paragraph, dude, of him just bitching like this and saying nothing actually about Memorial Day.
Right. What is he talking about? Himself. He makes everything about himself, even Memorial Day, for a guy that didn't serve in the military. Although I want to point out real quick, I have a veteran friend on Facebook who every Memorial Day makes the same post. He says, do not thank me for my service this weekend. Memorial Day is about those that died serving the country. It's not veterans. It's those that died.
100%.
How can you wish somebody a happy Memorial Day?
Right.
How about a respectful Memorial Day?
That's like a happy 9/11, like happy 9/11 day, it's the anniversary. I also have a friend who is a veteran. He posted this. I'm a Vietnam veteran. He posted it from someone else. He is not a Vietnam veteran. I am a Vietnam veteran. Please do not thank me for my service and then turn around and support a draft dodging coward who refers to me as a sucker and a loser for serving. If you have any agreement with Donald Trump on that, don't thank me for my service, you asshat. I thought it would be a good time as we get a little closer to Election Day, and this very program, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski, reminds you to vote blue no matter who. And if there is even a question in your head, here's a reminder of how Donald Trump feels about veterans.
New report from The Atlantic magazine. President Trump skipped a visit to a World War I memorial in France because he considered the cemetery for America's war dead to be filled with losers.
John Kelly confirmed that Trump described dead U.S. service members as losers and suckers.
He stood next to his former chief of staff at the grave of his son who died in Afghanistan and said what was in it for them.
Trump has faced major criticism for not reaching out to the families of 4 U.S. soldiers. He has played golf at least 4 times since these young men were killed.
The president said that he knew what he signed up for. He couldn't remember my husband's name.
What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew.
The Trump Foundation admitted to misusing funds, including using money meant for veterans to bump up his presidential campaign.
Man of the operations that killed Osama bin Laden. You're not even going to give them credit for taking down bin Laden?
They took him down, but
he was a Navy SEAL.
Wouldn't it have been nice if we got Osama bin Laden a lot sooner than that? Wouldn't it have been nice?
He's not a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
I figured there would be a chance that I would catch it. For instance, I met with Gulf Star families. They come within an inch of my face sometimes. They want to hug me and they want to kiss me.
President Trump announced a pair of secret meetings with Taliban negotiators at Camp David just days before the 18th anniversary of the September 11th attacks.
I mean, if there's any question in your mind about voting for him, please do with that information what you will. But you cannot pretend to prop up all the veterans and current service members of our military and armed forces and vote for this guy. Yeah, I mean, you can't do it, dude. You can't do it.
I don't know when we're going to reach the end of this list of reasons where any logical, good human being would not support Trump. Because we've laid out so many scenarios on the show over the last couple of years of how could you possibly support this man, yet they continue to support this man. It doesn't matter. Begging on veterans, shitting in his pants, accusing Biden recently of trying to have him assassinated, being on criminal trials, being found guilty of sexual assault. It doesn't fucking matter, and I will never understand that.
No, I won't get it either, dude. I will tell you that I just went into a conservative area for my road trip, and I met some nice people, and one in particular person I had met before, the way that he talked about Biden and said we got to get back to Trump, it just astonished me. He had a huge, sign in his garage that said, "Fuck Biden." And I'm just like, what are you doing? You don't give a crap about this country, dude.
No. Listen, here's the thing. I wish there was some catchy phrase like, vote blue no matter who. Don't vote for a narcissist unless you're a fucking moron. It doesn't rhyme as well.
It doesn't rhyme,
Yeah,
doesn't really roll off the tongue.
We cannot logic these people. We just have to outvote them. That's all it is.
This is the only news you need to know. After all, this is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Enough said.
It's time for another brewski. This one is a crazy brewski.
Okay, well, dudes, I can either hit us with another Trump story.
I'd like you to hit Trump. Is that possible?
We know that Donald likes to engage in, quid pro quo. So
yes, he wants to get something for his word or his money or whatever.
Exactly. So we know recently that he met with oil executives and he told them if they gave him $1 billion in his campaign fund that he promised to cut back any and all environmental regulations as it pertains to drilling in this country. Now, keep in mind that the United States today, and this comes from both Forbes and also Business Insider, we are producing more domestic oil than we ever have in our entire history.
Right.
That's true.
Yes, Trump asking for $1 billion. I hope he held his pinky up like Dr. Evil. $1 billion. Because it was straight up a bribe like Dr. Evil.
Well, so he recently had another fundraiser. The tickets were $250,000 a piece.
They must have been sold through Ticketmaster. Huh?
Yeah.
It's all the fees, dude. Come on.
Oh, the Ticketmaster ransom and that sort of thing. So it was held at the Pierre Hotel, and he was telling them, listen, if you want me to do anything for you, you really got to up your game. I need more money than what you're already giving. As a matter of fact, one businessman offered $1 million just to have lunch with Trump.
Oh, my gosh.
Except Trump shot it down and said, absolutely not. I need at least $25 million to have lunch with anybody.
Well, the price of Big Macs have gone up, in fairness.
Well, now I will say that on my trip back from New York the other day, at like 2 a.m, there was a 24-hour McDonald's on the highway in Connecticut, and a Big Mac meal, not even large size, was $17.59.
Oh,
yeah, they've really gone up, dude.
Well,
they've really gone up.
But I mean, it's highway rest stop price. That's why.
It's highway robbery, literally.
Yeah, exactly. But so he made these overtures to the people who were at this fundraiser at the Pierre Hotel, and he said that he would not spend 10 minutes with a donor unless they gave $10 million.
Jesus. I mean, I've heard rumblings that this could be violating campaign finance laws.
Well,
How could it not be?
I mean, you're basically saying if you pay me X, I will give you Y.
And what the conservatives constantly accuse Biden or Hunter Biden of having done, which there's no proof of, even though we know Ivanka and Jared got billions from the Saudis. We see Trump doing crap like this, just flat out asking for bribes, and somehow that's all good. That's just being a good businessman. And by the way, if these idiots think either A, he's going to win, or if B, he can pass any piece of legislation, then they deserve to lose their millions and billions. I think it's just as likely that one of the three of us could pass some of these laws. So give us a few $1 billion, and I'll do what I can for you. Okay, buddies?
We'll work harder than he will. We know that, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, we will. And we won't spend our time in front of Fox News, most of the day and claiming that it's executive time.
Yeah. What do they say? A fool and their money is soon parted. I mean, this is the real life manifestation of that.
Need to know news.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
News you need to know.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Let's switch gears slightly from people trying to fuck you to people wanting to fuck. I think it's a good segue here.
Okay, that's nice. We like that.
Thank you. Need to know news from the Huffington Post. These are the top 5 fantasies that women want to see more of in porn.
So you're basically giving us a little heads up of what we could recreate in the bedroom, and this is going to do body good, right?
Potentially, because I think there's some nuances to some of these choices. Now,
okay,
I guess my first question would be, seriously, how many women really do watch porn on their own? I just saw Nikki Glazer here in Lake Tahoe a couple of days ago. Great show. She's hilarious. But she was talking about her porn watching habits. And I really do wonder. I've known some women in my life that'll watch porn with you. I don't know that I've ever known a woman who has at least admitted that on their own private time they're sitting around watching porn.
I know one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll leave it at that. I mean, I know one.
I will say that over the past 5 years and in the past couple of years, actually, there's been a new, I won't say a new type of porn. It's women. It's directed by women, starring women, but it's regular heterosexual porn.
Yeah,
and it's more story based.
It's a little more sensual, a little bit more respectful. Yeah.
No, not so much that part of it, but there's actually plot and dialogue and all that.
Old school porn, when we started, porn from the 70s and 80s and even into the early 90s, it was always story-based, and it was always the cliche of the pizza guy, delivering pizza or whatever. And every one of us just would fast forward through all that bullshit. And now porn has gotten away from that. It's just gonzo, as they call it. It's just fucking, it's just sexy.
Yeah,
but you're saying now they're trying to go old school, but make it a little more quality dialogue and whatnot?
Yeah, almost like Lifetime movies, but with porn.
I want to go back to what women that watches porn. I get a hint? Is her last name Reynolds, either by relation or marriage or anything else?
That leaves my sister or my wife, so I'll leave it for you to decide.
All right. That's an answer and a non-answer there. So
there you go.
I'll take that. All right. So these are the answers, but I do have to dissect a couple of them for you. Coming in at number 1, I didn't mean that on purpose, but with the 77% return. Number 1 answer, threesomes.
Two women, one man, or 2 men, one woman?
Well, that's a good question. Now, some of the experts that they interviewed for this article said that they were surprised that threesomes made the top of the list for women, but they think that there's a little something deeper to it. One of the sexual fantasies empowers women to combat feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. So they're saying threesomes, because it involves, for instance, a scenario involving a threesome, one might visualize themselves as not only desirable, but also proficient in satisfying multiple partners. So this could serve as a counterweight to the self-doubt that a lot of women have.
I can see that as more of a threesome in that manner, is more like a scene of worship, you're being worshipped.
So this is like what you were saying. This is a dangerous one. I would not take this as an indication that women want to have threesomes in real life.
Yeah, Are you saying that they don't want to be spit roasted?
Probably not. I mean, it depends.
Something for everybody out there. So you'll find one, broski.
You get the idea what I mean about spit roasting, right?
Yeah, steaks on either end, right?
Exactly, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes what I say, look, when I first started saying speaking to the microphone, you guys were kind of getting it, so,
Listen, I speak proficient porn, so I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Okay.
Right. I remember years ago, Dr. Drew on Loveline made a really good point that there are some sexual things that are better off left in the fantasy world, and threesomes were his classic example. That he's talked to a lot of people that threesomes sound like a fun idea, but when you come and your girl's still sitting there going with another guy or another girl, and now you're just watching, or it doesn't go as well, and now you're embarrassed by 2 people. He's like, there's all sorts of pitfalls in threesomes. It's better left in the fantasy world.
And if you do it, don't do it with someone you know or you're friends with.
Do it with your Uber driver, like Brewski's had invitation.
Yeah. We'll fucking talk about a 9-star, 10-star rating, 5-star.
Right.
3 thumbs up all the way.
All right.
Yeah, there's multiple holes to do that with, so yes. Okay, so the second thing on the list was, these are things, again, that women want to see more of in pornography, apparently. Women receiving oral. 54% said they want to see more of that.
Yeah, I mean, does it do anything for you as a man to watch another guy giving oral to a woman?
No.
Well, you know why it doesn't for me, and I'll tell you why.
Please.
Because like with a woman giving a guy oral on porn, you can see what's happening because you can still see the man's penis and that sort of thing, right?
Sure.
If a dude is really giving a woman oral, right, Like he's all the way in there. Like all you see is his face. You don't see her vag. You don't see anything whatsoever. But what they do in porn is, but they gotta like turn their face and they're barely touching anything and that sort of thing. And it's like, what are you doing? You're wasting this woman's time.
Yeah,
If you're gonna do it.
that's a film technique in general, but used in porn a lot. It's called cheating to the camera, where you're instead of burying your face in there, you tilt it off to the side so the camera can kind of see. So you're not doing as good of a job as you would be. Women do it with their hair in porn all the time. They're very conscious to keep their hair out of their face, away, so the camera can see their face. Now, this is interesting. I wasn't aware of this. I will tell you, Kennedy was just telling me the other day that Bridgerton is one of her favorite shows. Are you guys hip on what Bridgerton is? I don't even know.
My sister's been watching it.
It's one of Rachel's favorite shows, too. It must be a woman thing, Brewski.
You know what it is? It's almost like Downton Abbey. It's kind of like that. That's what I get. I'm not sure. But
well, apparently, according to one of these experts interviewed, the depiction of women receiving oral sex has witnessed a surge in various romantic storylines like Bridgerton, possibly portraying it as the ultimate gesture of love and acceptance.
It's like, Jesus used to wash the feet of a homeless person, to like show, like, I love you openly. Now it's women's oral. I mean, I can get down with that. All right. But you're right. Bridgerton is full of that kind of stuff. I've walked in watching, Rachel watching the show many a time, and there's always a intense either oral scene or just straight up fucking scene going on, and a lot of the time it's their sister. There's a lot of what do they call that incest. When you have sex with your incest is best. Yeah. There's a lot of it, dude.
That's what they say down south. Yes, for sure. Well, I didn't know. I mean, that almost sounds like softcore porn. Is that the trend of how women are watching porn?
But it does say, according to Wikipedia, because I needed to look it up, Bridgerton is an American-produced historical romance television series. So it seems like what it is women always love things like Downton Abbey, that aristocratic sort of thing. And it's also queens and royalty and nobility. And then you introduce all these kind of like romantic, sexy things,
It's like for us if we got to see MacGyver fuck a girl once in a while throughout the show,
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, now I can relate. Thank you for speaking my terms.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me just bust through these last couple of ones before I bust a nut. Number 3 on the list, kind of I think what we were just talking about. They want to see more romantic sex in porn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And, we've talked before about the fact that porn has become so degrading and violent towards women, and I don't understand where that trend has come from. So I think we could probably use a little more either romance in porn or just stop dehumanizing women at least.
Yeah, I think most of that is enjoyed. I could take some heat for saying this, but I think most who enjoy, watching girls get their mouths, spit in their mouth and stuff like that, I think it's probably a pretty good indication that they've suffered some kind of abuse in their life. You know what I mean?
But there are some women though that every so often, they want that really intense, something different. You know?
Yeah.
Well, and that brings me to numbers 4 and 5, because to me, they're almost the same thing in some ways. Women want to see more rough sex and domination in porn.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
I think that may be one of the ones in the bedroom that could actually be introduced, because I think women want that kind of stuff when done respectfully.
Yes, there's got to be a safe word, and hopefully you don't even have to say it, because your partner knows what the limit is of how to, excite someone in that way, but not scare them so bad they think they may die.
Right, exactly.
Well, I will say that in the past, women that I've dated, if they had a job that was really stressful, or where they had a lot of responsibility on their shoulders and that sort of thing, they liked the whole domination sort of thing. They want you to, because they want for a while just to let go and let someone else take control, because everything else in their life is just them all day long having to deal with all this garbage, and they just want to let go.
Yeah, it's the same for a lot of guys too. Most of the dudes that go to dominatrixes are some sort of corporate types that are, they're the boss, they're in control, and they just want to let go of it. So
yeah,
I guess introduce these things into your real life at your own risk, but or start flipping through some porn that may highlight some of these things and see how either your wife or sister respond. Nick, I don't know if you get some feedback for us, but
I don't know if I'm going to. Yeah, I'll let you know, dude. I'll let you know.
Or your neighbor, whoever it
Need
is.
to know news.
Sure.
News you need to know.
Gentlemen, I think we can all agree that we're animal lovers on this program, and I don't mean sexually. Harness, wipe the grin off.
That was
your
number
face.
6 on the list. Women want to see more bestiality.
Yeah, I just mean that we love animals, and I don't know how many times you've been to a zoo in your life, and if you even believe in zoos, but
I believe in them, they're real.
I know, but do you believe they should exist? That's my point, okay?
I just had this conversation with somebody. The last time I went to a zoo, I was depressed by the experience because the older you get, the more you realize these poor animals are just in these shitty little cement cells,
100%, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love looking at animals. It's a catch-22, but yeah, it does. It makes me sad when I see them. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes they need to be put in sanctuaries when they couldn't survive in the wild or whatever, and I understand that. But this happens to be something you will find incredible but true. This is a wild orangutan. This is the first animal that has used herbal medicine to treat his own wounds. And what I mean by that, researchers say that this is the first observation of a non-human animal purposely treating a wound with a medicinal plant. Wow. Deep in the rainforest of Indonesia, there's no such thing as running to the pharmacy for soap and bandages to tend to a fresh wound. People living in the area have coped by turning the forest itself into a pharmacy, using plants as medicine. It's been going on for ages, since the beginning of time. A new evidence shows that at least one non-human primate has done so as well. The remarkable observation may be the first time a wild animal has ever done anything like it. This guy's name is Raucus, okay? They watch him. He lives wild in the forest, the rainforest, and they just have tabs on him, so they keep their eye on Raucus. He's a male orangutan, now likely in his mid-30s. He was first seen to researchers in 2009, and they've been kind of monitoring him ever since, okay, along with 150 other orangutans. This guy got a huge wound and infection on his face, and it's right underneath his right eye. It's probably the size of an Oreo cookie, okay? And he was witnessed going and finding this plant that takes infection out of things and wadding it up and putting the oil of this leaf into his wound to try and heal himself.
Wow. He's been on WebMD, apparently. That's very impressive.
I find it fascinating, dude. I find this fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be really impressed when I see him light up a medicinal joint or something to really cure his ails. But no, I mean, listen, anyone who ever has said that animals are just some mindless beasts have never spent time with animals. They all clearly have personalities and intelligence, but that's a whole new level. I mean, but, primates, monkeys, orangutans, they seem to be the more intelligent of the wild beasts out there. So that's super impressive. And like every herb that does something, I wonder, like, how do we discover pot? Like, how many plants do people smoke before they realize, hey, this one does something? Like, how did that orangutan figure out that this herb actually heals? Like, he would have had to have done tons of trial and error, found the right one, and then seen that it works, and then retain that. I mean, that is definitely advanced thinking.
That is the brain of a human, dude. And I don't know. I mean, have you ever spent any time watching an orangutan or a gorilla or an ape? They say that the difference in their brain is something stupid, like 2% or something like that away from ours. They're obviously, you look in their eyes, you can see a soul in there, which you can with a lot of animals, but there's something about it in these orangutan, gorilla, ape, stuff like that. 2 days later, after he wadded that up and kind of squeezed it into his face, he took leaves off the tree and put it in his mouth and realized they needed to be grinded up more. And he ground them up in his mouth and then took them out and put them into this wound. This fucking orangutan is healing himself, dude.
Yeah. Well, he believes in healthcare, which makes him smarter than any Republican I've ever known. So.
True. It's the same color as Trump, dude, but he is not. I mean, he's obviously much smarter.
Yeah, he's voting blue, even though he's orange. So kudos to that.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So
no, that's mind blowing for sure.
Remember that there was a great orangutan by the name of Clyde who knew how to signal for a right turn back in the 70s. You remember him?
Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah, it was about loose. Yeah. Right turn, Clyde.
Clyde could do it. I mean, we've all seen the videos of like some of these animals in other countries, or even at the zoo, like asking for a cigarette and smoking a cigarette. I mean, these are little humans in costumes, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, the orangutans at the Woodland Park Zoo in Seattle, they have a huge enclosure. And it's fun because they love these burlap sacks, and you see them like grab them and put them like on their back, like the Superman, like a cape, and they go
Jump
running around. And
awesome.
It's actually pretty fun, Yeah.
Listen, that not only makes them smarter than Republicans for the healthcare reason, but what's that religion? What is it, like Christian fundamentalists that don't believe in medicine of any kind?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so the orangutan's even smarter than those morons to know that if something makes you feel better, it's okay. God put it there for you to learn to be smart enough to use it.
Yeah. So we'll keep our eye on Raucus, but sources say the people that are observing him that he is actually healing his own wounds, and that they're not even at this point stepping in to try and heal him because they think he's got himself taken care of.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what he wants to see more of in porn. Let's get his full intelligence put to the test, you know?
I'm sure he's into that rough shit, dude. I'm sure.
Some crazy banana action,
All right. That's probably out of time, yeah?
No, we got time for one more.
Oh, we do? Okay, that's fantastic news.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
Yeah, right. Brewski, is that where we're at?
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you want.
Go for it.
I have a rock story, quote unquote, that you guys might like, actually.
All right.
But this is
it's about Metallica, but go ahead.
This is a geological story, but someone cue Eddie Van Halen, please, because we are about to engage in an eruption.
Okay.
Lots of music references there. It's good.
Yes. Well, so takes us to Iceland, and there's a watch because there's another volcano that, as of 4 hours ago, is starting erupting in Iceland.
How long has it been since it blew last?
December.
That's personal, dude.
I'm just trying to figure out if it's married or not. You know?
Well, here's the thing, though. It's the fifth eruption since December. Now, if you're married, that's probably bad. But think about this, though. I mean, there's a lot of hot magma being thrown around, you know?
Oh, it's a very violent ejaculation from this mountain.
Yes. Don't get in the hair of the volcano next door. They don't like that.
Although, you know what, though? Sometimes, you go and you eat at that one place and you have a different kind of eruption, And,
out of your butthole, your booty hole. Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was the Bridgerton talk. I know when I eat at that hole, there's often eruptions. So yes.
Well, but so they say that that the roads within a mile and a half around this particular volcano are all closed, and they're waiting for another one to happen shortly. They're on eruption watch because there's a lot of rumbling and that sort of thing, but nothing's quite come up to the surface yet. So it's edging itself is what it is. The volcano is edging itself, holding back because it really wants to, blow its top when it really gets everything in just the right spot.
Yeah, good prostate health. It's blowing itself repeatedly.
Yes, exactly. This is like going on 5-6 months. It keeps going off like this, and it's on the Reykjanes Peninsula. And
I know
they're very worried. They're very worried about this. It's going to be a big one. So.
It's going to be a big one. People should listen. This is the good news, ladies and gentlemen. You know that if you masturbate, say once a month you masturbate, like the load is going to be serious and dangerous. If you're spurting every, like this mountain every couple of days, like the load that it blows in the end is not going to be as big as it would be.
Very good point. And if this volcano was polite, it'll tap you on the head to let you know it's about to explode.
Right? Yes.
Give you a fair chance to get away.
Well, good. We'll keep you updated on this, too. We'll let you know when that load pops and whether or not it's harmed any people. So.
I was going to say, we'll apologize in advance if hundreds of villagers die at some point from the story. But right now, it's just fun.
Right.
It's good.
Yes, of course.
Someone make sure that Bjork is safe, please.
Please.
We will, yes. This makes it all better, by the way. There we go. We were joking about everything, okay? Can't take a
Our
joke.
grandma melted alive, but it made for a good double entendre joke. So what are we going to do here? You know?
Is it too soon? Too soon? No, it hasn't even happened yet. Okay.
They're in Volcano Watch. You can actually go online, and everybody from BBC, CNN, everyone's got live cameras on it. So,
well, this is what Iceland gets for lying about its name. God damn it! False advertising catches up to you eventually. Your whole island melts. So.
We're on the watch. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning to the podcast, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabruski, and see our socials, please.
Yep, we're on the TikTok thing. We're on X. We're on Reddit. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and something else I'm probably forgetting. So find all that. Check out the website, thevocalminority.net, and we have a phone number.
Yeah, please, 844-48-VOCAL. Leave a comment, ask a question, or just call to prank us, whatever you feel necessary. Brewski, please.
Wiedersehen.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.
You think we could listen to the radio or something?
The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Radio? Who needs a radio?
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
This is the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.